you know that seniors over 65 are now choosing exciting new ways to live far beyond traditional nursing homes? If you're in your 60s, 7 South, or even well into your 80s, you might be surprised to hear this, but the world is changing fast. And when it comes to how we age, how we live, and how we take care of ourselves and each other, the change is stunning. Many people assume that the only options after 75 are a hospital bed, a lonely apartment, or a nursing home. But that's no longer true. In fact, some of the most brilliant innovations in senior care aren't happening inside medical buildings. They're happening in living rooms, community gardens, and even cruise ships. Yes, really. This video is for older folks who still feel curious, still want freedom, and who believe that the last chapter of life shouldn't be written by fear or outdated systems. We're going to talk about 7 new trends that are turning the old idea of elder care on its head. These aren't just theories, they're real, growing movements backed by both data and stories from seniors just like you. Whether you're already thinking about your living arrangements or just want to stay informed, what you'll hear today might surprise you, uplift you, and maybe even give you a new vision for your future. And the best part, it's not too late to get on board. Let's take a closer look at what aging really looks like now, and why the words nursing home might soon be a thing of the past. Trend 1. The rise of intentional senior communities. All across the country, something unexpected is happening. It's older adults, many in their 60 South, 7 South, and beyond, are moving into neighborhoods not built by corporations or nursing home chains, but by seniors themselves. These are called intentional senior communities, and they're quietly reshaping what aging in America looks like. Picture this: a small group of retired friends pool their resources and buy a plot of land, instead of each going off to live alone in separate homes or facilities. They design a small neighborhood with shared gardens, common areas, and private living spaces. Some even build tiny homes or shared ranch-style houses. It's not about isolation. It's about dignity, freedom, and staying socially connected without sacrificing independence. What makes these communities so powerful is that they're built around shared values. Maybe it's sustainability, maybe it's wellness, or maybe it's simply aging together with people who get it. These aren't places where you're treated like a patient. There are places where you're treated like a full human being. Psychologically, this solves one of the biggest issues we see in aging: loneliness. Carl Jung once wrote that the worst part of aging isn't the body breaking down. It's feeling like you're no longer useful, like you've been put on a shelf. But in these communities, older people are needed. They cook together. They check on one another. They share stories, books, tools, and time. There's one woman, Joyce, who's 82 and living in one of these intentional communities in North Carolina. She told a local journalist, "We decided that we didn't want to grow old in silence. We wanted to laugh together. We wanted to be seen." And that's exactly what these places offer. Not just care, but connection. It's not a fantasy. It's happening. And it's growing. Zoning laws are starting to adjust to allow for these kinds of setups. Home builders are beginning to recognize the trend, and older Americans are realizing that they don't have to choose between independence and support. They can have both. The beauty of these communities isn't in the architecture. It's in the mindset. It sits in the idea that you can age with others without losing your sense of self. That you can build your future with your own hands, even if those hands are a little slower than they used to be. And for those of us who've worked hard all our lives, doesn't it make sense to spend our later years not just surviving, but belonging? Trend 2. Tech-powered aging in place. If there's one thing that's changed aging more than anything else the last 10 years, it's technology, and not just the kind that lets you video call your grandchildren. We're talking about the quiet revolution. It's letting people in their 70s and 80s live alone longer, live safer, and live better, all without giving up their dignity. So let's start with the basics. Fall detection used to mean wearing an awkward device around your neck. Now, there are smart sensors placed under rugs, on door frames, or even in light bulbs. They don't film you or record sound. Just watch for patterns. And if you fall, or if something seems off, like you haven't left your bedroom by noon, the system sends a gentle alert to a loved one. It's not about surveillance, it's about silent safety. Hey, and it's not just safety. Smart home systems are becoming caretakers in their own right. A voice assistant can remind you to take your medication. A smart oven will shut off automatically if it's left on too long. Lights come on when you get up at night to prevent falls. Even front doors can be locked remotely if you forget. There's a man I know, Larry, who's 79 and fiercely independent. He lives alone and has no intention of moving into a facility, but his son installed a few discreet devices in his home. Now, if Larry doesn't make coffee by 9 a.m., something he's done every day for 50 years, his daughter gets a message. She usually texts him just to check in. He doesn't feel watched. He feels cared for without being hovered over. The psychological shift here is important. Carl Jung often spoke about the human need to maintain autonomy even in decline. And thoughts, what this text supports. It doesn't infantilize you. It supports your ability to remain who you are on your own terms. And let's not forget telemedicine. In the past, getting to the doctor meant a ride, a wait, and half a day gone. Now, you can consult with a specialist from your living room. You can send daily blood pressure updates or glucose levels without leaving the house. It's saving lives and sanity. And then there's community tech. Seniors are starting to use apps not just to watch videos or scroll pictures, but to find others nearby who want to go for a walk, share a meal, or play cards. In some neighborhoods, a single app connects a dozen seniors who meet once a week for trivia night, all because someone clicked join. The beauty of it is that none of this is flashy. It's not for show. It's not to prove that seniors are hip or modern. It's about the quiet confidence that comes from knowing your home is working with you, not against you. It's about staying connected, even when the world feels fast and far away. It's about giving your children peace of mind while still giving yourself the space to breathe, Here's what really matters. These tools aren't just for the wealthy. Many are affordable, and some are covered by Medicare or community programs. Local governments are starting to catch on, realizing it's cheaper and kinder to help people stay in their homes than to move them into care too soon. Aging in place used to mean sitting in the same chair, watching the same television, waiting for someone to knock on the door. Not anymore. Now it means you've got tools that support your independence, routines that help you stay grounded, and subtle safety nets that catch you before you fall. So, if you're someone who values your home, your freedom, and your sense of self, this new trend is worth paying attention to. Because aging doesn't have to mean surrendering your space. It can mean upgrading it so it grows with you. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Trend 3. Intergenerational housing models. One of the most heartwarming and surprisingly practical shifts we're seeing today is the rise of intergenerational living, not just out of necessity, but by choice. More and more families are realizing that putting 3 generations under one roof, or at least on the same property, does more than save on rent. It restores a sense of belonging that so many older adults quietly lose as they age. Now, let's be clear. Intergenerational living today doesn't mean a chaotic house filled with shouting children and no privacy. These new models are smart, respectful, and often beautifully designed. Think of a small private cottage or a converted garage with its own kitchen and entrance. You're nearby, but you're no tenderfoot. You're part of the family circle, but still independent. It's a family I know, the Crawfords in Ohio. Ellen, who's 72, was widowed a few years back. Her daughter and son-in-law invited her to move into the finished basement of their home, but it's no dark cellar. They added a stair lift, put in new windows, soundproofed the ceiling, and created a warm, cozy space that's hers. She joins them for dinner when she wants, but she can also close the door and enjoy her books in peace. In Yachno, what's remarkable? Everyone benefits. Her daughter doesn't have to worry about whether she took her medicine. Her grandchildren get to know their grandmother as a person, not just a holiday visitor. And Ellen, she says she feels younger, just from being around people who laugh loud and live fully. This trend is about more than convenience. It taps into something Carl Jung often explored: the need to find new roles and purpose as we age. In intergenerational homes, older adults aren't treated like passive guests. They're mentors, storytellers, even co-parents at times. Their presence grounds the family. Their wisdom fills the house. Of course, this kind of setup isn't for everyone. Some seniors treasure their solitude, and that's perfectly fine. But for glorified radios, seniors are using them to control lights, lock doors, call family, check the weather, and even remind them to take medication just by speaking. For those who live alone, this kind of support provides both independence and peace of mind. But then, there are fall detection sensors that don't require wearing a clunky device. These smart systems learn your daily patterns. So, if something's off, it's like you haven't walked into the kitchen by 10 a.m. or your movement stops suddenly, they send an alert to a trusted contact. It's quiet, invisible safety. Let's talk about bathrooms for a second. Slips and falls that are no joke. But now, there are smart tiles that detect standing water, light strips that turn on when your feet hit the floor, even toilets with built-in sensors that track hydration, signs of infection, and more. All without you needing to do anything differently. It's like having a silent nurse in your home without giving up privacy. And speaking of privacy, many of these tools are now designed with seniors in mind. That means no cameras, no invasive monitoring, just simple, respectful automation that supports rather than intrudes. There's a story about a woman named Judith, 81. Q had surgery last year and chose to recover at home instead of a rehab facility. Her son set up a smart monitoring system with motion sensors, medication reminders, and a two-way video doorbell. Judith said, "I didn't feel watched. I felt supported. I could rest, heal, and stay in my space. I wasn't just a patient. I was me." Carl Jung often spoke about the importance of wholeness in the inner life as we age. Technology, used right, allows us to retain that inner life instead of being reduced to checklists and nursing charts. Now, I know some folks are hesitant. Do gadgets, they say. But here's the thing. It's not about becoming tech savvy. It's about choosing tools that quietly protect you so you can live more fully. And younger family members are often more than happy to set these up for you. They'd rather know you're safe than get a call from the hospital. These aging-in-place tools are already replacing the need for many types of institutional care. And in the next 5 to 10 years, they'll be as common as dishwashers. More seniors will stay in their homes, not out of stubbornness, but because the home itself will evolve to support them. It's not science fiction. It's happening right now. It's Trend 6, Community Co-living Spaces. Not everyone wants to age in total solitude, and not everyone wants to be told when to eat, what to do, and who they're allowed to see. That's why one of the most surprising and honestly most exciting trends today is the rise of senior co-living communities. These aren't your typical retirement homes. They're vibrant, self-directed households where older adults share space, responsibilities, and friendship on their own terms. Think of it like a college dorm, but with more wisdom, more privacy, and better food. The core idea is simple. Rather than live alone and rely on strangers for help, you live with others around your age who understand what you're going through. You split the rent. You cook together when you feel like it. You respect each other's independence, but look out for one another in quiet ways. Like watering the plants when someone's sick, or simply being there to talk over coffee. One of the most powerful parts of this trend is that it's often started by seniors themselves. Not corporations, not developers. People in their 60s, 7, South, even 80s are teaming up to lease homes, remodel old buildings, or build tiny house villages that reflect how they want to live, not how someone else thinks they should. There's an example in Oregon where 4 women in their 70s bought a big house together and each claimed a room. They share a kitchen and common spaces and even rotate shopping runs. When asked if it felt strange, one of them said, "We've lived enough years to know what we don't want. We want peace, company, and control, and that's what we built." Carl Jung would have called this individuation, the process of becoming more yourself as you age. Disco living setups are a reflection of that inner clarity. You're not disappearing into a crowd or vanishing behind a curtain of medical care. You're stepping more fully into your preferences, your energy, your rhythm. It also reduces financial pressure. Rent and utility costs are shared, so is food. And in places where home prices have soared or retirement funds run thin, this arrangement gives breathing room. You get companionship and affordability. Of course, like any living situation, it takes respect, communication, and boundaries. Too, many people find it easier than expected. After all, you've been through marriages, kids, jobs, loss, little housemate tension. That's nothing new. But the rewards, warmth, laughter, feeling seen far outweigh the learning curve. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 6 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Trend 7. Wellness-focused retirement villages. What if aging wasn't about decline, but about reinvention? And what if your home was built entirely around that belief? That's the vision behind a growing wave of wellness-focused retirement villages that are changing how older adults live, heal, and thrive. These aren't the Florida golf cart communities of decades past. These are purpose-built villages that integrate movement, nutrition, social engagement, and mind-body care into everyday life. And they do it with style and intention. At the center of these villages, you'll often find wellness centers, not just gyms, but spaces that offer Tai Chi in the morning, group acupuncture in the afternoon, nutrition counseling on Thursdays, and community gardening on weekends. These places understand that aging well isn't about just avoiding illness. It's about maintaining vitality and, where possible, building new strength. Many of these communities are designed in partnership with gerontologists, psychologists, and even behavioral economists. They take what we know about healthy aging, both physically and emotionally, and they bake it right into the sidewalks, walking paths, lighting, and even the colors of the buildings. It's all subtle, but it works. People in these spaces walk more, smile more, engage more, and according to several studies, they stay out of hospitals longer, too. One thing that sets these villages apart is how they foster purpose. Residents are in just killing time. They're mentoring younger people, leading community events, even forming clubs around topics like woodworking, storytelling, or plant-based cooking. There's a rhythm of contribution. Feel like you're still a part of something real. Okay, this is where Jung's psychology fits again. In his later years, he emphasized the importance of integration. Not splitting life into before and after retirement, but staying whole, connected, curious. These villages reflect that. They don't just house you, they energize you. Of course, not every one of these places is affordable, but the trend is moving in the right direction. More nonprofits, city partnerships, and foundations are stepping in to build affordable versions, especially in places where older populations are growing rapidly. The future of aging won't be rows of hospital beds. It will be greenhouses, conversation circles, and a gym where the instructor actually knows what a 75-year-old shoulder can and can't do. And the biggest surprise, many of these wellness villages have long wait lists. Not because people are desperate, but because they're excited. Aging doesn't have to be an ending. It can be a whole new chapter with better lighting, better walking paths, and better coffee. Final thoughts. If you're in your 60s, 70s, or even 80s, you've probably heard someone say, just prepare for the nursing home. But today, we've seen that there's a very different future opening up for people like us. A future where aging doesn't mean giving up control, but gaining new options. A future where you can live around friends, stay active, stay sharp, and choose what kind of life you want to live on your terms. What stood out to you the most today? Is it the idea of co-housing with friends? Is it technology that keeps you safe without stripping your privacy? Or the notion that one day you could age in a vibrant, intergenerational village where every day feels like an opportunity, not a countdown? These 7 trends aren't fantasy. They're happening right now. Slowly but surely, the world is catching up to the truth we've known all along. Aging is not something to fear, something to shape with wisdom, courage, and community. Be honest, many of us didn't have this kind of vision growing up. We were taught to work hard, raise kids, and then just fade quietly into a recliner. But that old story is falling apart. You don't have to settle for it. You get to choose how your next chapter is written. That's the power of staying informed and open-minded. So take what you've learned today and think about it. Maybe even talk about it with someone you trust. 'Cause change doesn't always start big. It starts with a conversation, a new idea, or a small shift in how we imagine what's possible. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us GR.